The thing about noxious weeds is that they're very prolific spreaders and invaders. Through evolution, they've created mechanisms to essentially spread and populate in the areas that you might not normally see them. So yellow flag iris uses water as a transport for their seeds. Every year it produces seeds within the flower. Those break off and then those can float downriver and invade other areas. And that's why we have them throughout our watersheds, is because they use water as a transport.
Most of the time with noxious weeds that the road department is on the road right of way, and we definitely like to take care of the weeds on the right of way because people are stopping in the side of the road and getting out of their car and getting it on their clothes, or it's the wind's pushing it from the cars driving by, or it's actually getting stuck in the car and transferring from one road to another.
Invasive species, they're not from North America, most of them. Introduced a lot of them through ornamental trade, through nursery. Beautiful looking showy flowers that people plant in their gardens, and they escape those ornamental settings and get into native ecosystems and cause a lot of harm and damage to the native ecosystem.
You should care about noxious weeds for several different reasons. I think it depends on what your interests are. If you're into wildlife, they will occupy a lot of the space that natives should be in, that are critical feed and forage for, say, mule deer all the way down to quail. As a local homeowner, definitely the more eyes we have monitoring, notifying, the county, the Park and Recreation District of weeds. There are volunteer programs. We have one volunteer weed pull coming up in July and another one in August.
Deschutes County has a noxious weed financial assistance program. It really can be helpful for a lot of landowners who can't afford to treat these weeds, and it's a mutual benefit because we're really trying to go after a lot of these species that haven't been so prolific yet, but are in small concentrations, but are really detrimental to a lot of our ecosystems. We have a grant that we've recently received from the Oregon Department of Agriculture where we have identified 7 species throughout the county that we're trying to promote outreach and control on. We feel these species are really detrimental to a lot of ecosystems, and so those are the species we've picked to focus on for our grant cycle.
We are focusing on 7 species: a yellow flag iris, yellow star thistle, terrestrial species, yellow floating heart, aquatic Coriolisum terrestrial, orange hawkweed, spotted knapweed, and myrtle spurge.
Like to have the treatment done because I want to maximize my grazing for the cattle. And these plants, the Coriolisum and knapweed, they'll fill in an area and they'll get thick and they'll outcompete the grasses, whether it's pasture grass or whatever kind of grass you've got planted. I planted all these fields in a pasture grass mix. And if these weeds get started, they'll take over and I'll have big patches that have hardly any grass in them. So it really cuts down on my grazing. I want to be able to maximize my grazing.
Everybody has to do their part to control noxious weeds. It's not just state, federal, local partner agencies that are responsible. I mean, noxious weeds, the control of it is everybody's responsibility.
Pay attention to your surroundings. If you see something that looks like it, try to stay out of it. Don't get too far. We always have like a bare area on the side of the road. And if you can kind of try to stay in that, that would be the best, because then you're not into the vegetation, collecting the vegetation on your clothes or vehicle, or animals move it a lot. Take a second and see if there's anything stuck in the fur or anything and clear it out before you load them back in the car.
To be part of that Noxious Weed Financial Assistance Program on the Noxious Weed Program website, which is under the Road Department, we have the actual application that you can apply for. And if you fill that application out, it'll be emailed directly to me, and I can contact you on how to receive that assistance. Part of that assistance involves consultation as well. So a lot of times myself and Ben Hanna, the vegetation supervisor with the Road Department, will go out and will help create a treatment plan for you to not only control the noxious weeds you have on your land, but come up with a long-term solution to prevent those noxious weeds from invading further.